the things. And so let me go through. And also in Twitter, similar kind of posts are also there. Number of articles, small articles that which I could write from the common man's perspective are also given in the blog spot, the Disaster Resilient India blog spot, which you can see for more details. So let me see that earthquake happens. Here is earthquake, which is 5-10 kilometer below, 15 kilometer below, sometimes 100 kilometer below also. But ultimately, the waves have to come here to attack our building, whether it is one-story building, whether it is multi-story building, whether it is underground facility, whether it is overground facility, whether it is a road infrastructure, everything, whether it is a dam, like someone was asking yesterday, especially the Subansiri Dam, which has started again, 2000 megawatt, what will be the impact of earthquake on that? So we'll see that how, of course, in 45 minutes interaction, we don't say, but we would like to see that through this another 2 days interaction, we would like to see that how, as a common man, we can see various perspectives of earthquake effect onto the establishments that which are existing for centuries, or which we are making, or which we have made even after the codal provisions came in 1962. So we have to take care of all these things that which are existing or which are going to be made. So in that case, the earthquake will happen and they will attack our building with various magnitude and various intensity. So it is the challenge by us, those who are counted among expert civil engineers, and allied seismologists and allied branches, allied area in earthquake engineering and seismology, that how we, as a scientist, as an engineer, as a common man, we deal with these things together so that we can live happily, safely in the buildings or in the establishments that we are living in. So the second thing comes that whatever earthquake happening here, we record them here. Across the globe, there are 70,000 plus seismometers are there. In India also, if we count everything, more than 500, even IIT Roorkee has placed more than 400 seismometer in Uttarakhand. And IMD has got more than 120. Details you will get from Dr. O.P. Mishra. But for a civil engineer, when we have to live in a building, multi-story, all single story, then what comes to civil engineering domain, especially Department of Earthquake Engineering in IIT Roorkee, they are counted as famous and having a lot of experimental as well as theoretical, as well as a lot of knowledge bank that they are having. And so for common man is that the kind of building that which you are seeing here, two-story building, if we recreate an earthquake and generate the same earthquake into two-story or even four-story, six-story, eight-story building in a laboratory, how they behave. So there are a number of such experiments being done in the country, not so in a big scale in a prototype, but in other countries like Japan or Taiwan and Turkey, they have done many prototype building where two-story, three-story, four-story buildings are tested to check that how earthquakes are affecting. So that is the challenge, and that is the kind of expertise that we can recreate an earthquake to check that the buildings that we are making, buildings that we are going to make, and how it is going to shake those buildings which we are making using our expertise, using code, or using guidelines and many things. So earthquake happens, in fact, this is a scenario is a Nepal earthquake happened in 2015. And then what impact that I am showing here, that to the road infrastructure. So because it is ground and the ground is shaken, the road that highways or expressways that we are making or railways that we are making, when we are, anytime it may come, then how road infrastructure takes into account from such kind of crack, that is a subject area dealt with by civil engineering. One branch is the transportation engineering. But so far as our knowledge is concerned, nothing of earthquake shaking has been taken in the design of the road. I am not going to touch upon these things, just only to say that the earthquake happens, but it gives us various lessons. Okay. So earthquake as on today, you can see today is July 9th. Now it is 11 plus am. And just this kind of seismic monitor is there available. So you can check over here what is in the morning while reshaping the slides, taken a snapshot of what is happening around in India. And so many earthquakes with times, they are being recorded by USGS through IRIS, where, as a seismic monitor across the globe, every time and now, every second for the last so many years, these earthquakes are plotted. Here you can see which will be glowing as a seismic monitor. So we can see with a click, we can click over here in India, and we can see in India and around how earthquakes are recorded through this seismic network and how they are placed in our global map. This is as far as, quick information in the information ka dunya jo hai, that these days, now things are available in our mobile phone. Now artificial intelligence, machine learning, lot of things are coming up. So our scientists who are working across the globe, they made it facilitated to bring whatever earthquakes are happening across the globe, where I said that 70,000 plus seismic monitors are there, seismograms are there. And their data, not all are there, but some of the important data maintained by USGS are coming, and they are showing us all these things instantly in the map. Not only that, there are earthquakes when these are coming, instrumentation started more than 120 years back, then they are also being compiled. I wanted to highlight only over here because time is short. In the last 14 years, you can see that how many earthquakes are happening. This one, like more than five, they may be as high as 500, as high as 2,000 earthquakes are happening in a year, which means if we take on an average 4 to 6 earthquakes are happening, even say 400 and 5 to 7 earthquakes are happening across the globe, which are more than 5, which in fact, sometimes they may create a lot of havoc impact into the buildings, which I am going to show in the following presentation. Just giving you an iota of information that 8 and above earthquake are happening once in a year. 7 to 8 earthquake, if you can see here, they are coming up at least 20 to 25 earthquake. It means every year, 7 and above earthquake, like Nepal earthquake 7.7, they are happening across the globe. 2 earthquakes in any part of the earth which is happening. So about 5 to 6 felt earthquake, which may be damaging to some extent in our country, are happening. Here we have no way to control them. This is what I wanted to highlight. So what earthquake does, it happens, we cannot stop, we have to bear with it, and our own responsibility to protect ourselves. So we have to take our own responsibility, including government, you, we, everyone, all experts who are sitting there, because they shake buildings and cause damages. Because if you are not careful enough in designing the building, constructing the building, which I am going to show you some of those lacuna, and then it breaks, torn apart, roads, dam breaks also may happen. It causes landslide, tsunami, and a lot of things. But we cannot make buildings really, in an engineering language, earthquake proof. We can make earthquake resistant. That is where that our limitation is. So let us see that all these things happens in the earthquake. And landslide, dam failure like Subansiri Dam, it may occur, but these rates are very small. And while designing a dam, our experts, they take care a lot of things. They are into the design of the dam and reservoir and maintenance. But if something earthquake that happens, which may fail our designing or concept that we have accrued so far, then we cannot help. But we take most of the things available knowledge into consideration while making a dam and constructing a dam and maintaining it. Building collapse, of course, I'll do in detail. I'm not going to show this part. I'm going to show in the train wreck, utility malfunction, tsunami. I'm not going to cover here. But landslide also happens, which is complex. I'm not going to cover. I only concentrate in this portion. There may be fire also. So there are a lot of tests and experiments being conducted across the globe by various research laboratories to simulate the building collapse by a recorded earthquake and then having fire or utility malfunction. All these things have been tested to check, because being engineer, being from scientific background, whatever is happening or which we cannot create, we cannot control, but we can at least make some kind of impact of that in our laboratory, robust laboratory, where I said that 7-story, 8-story buildings are tested to check their performance, because my topic is performance. So context is building performance in earthquake, where we are lacking, we will see. Construction monitoring and peer review check, not even conscious about the new building even today. I'll show you many things, barring few of them which are being monitored and constructed well. Damage pattern and mitigation things, mentioning codes or National Building Code 2005 or 16, NDMA or NID guideline, mentioning that in the sanctioning of the plan, not enough. Implementation, enforcement, community guidance, community awareness, which we have to work together. That is more important than simply mentioning that FE 550 or 600 rods are being applied or such and such cement being applied. I'll show you those examples also. Economic feasibility of mitigation measures, which is being hyped right now because of the several earthquakes that in the last 3 months that happening in and around and Delhi NCR. So I should not say it is hyped, it is happening. Our instruments are recording, people are coming to know, which is more frequently it is happening. But no systematic study by our scientists yet has taken up. Simply we are being asked whether it is the precursor to the bigger or not. We are saying something not based on the systematic studies which must be in place, which is has not yet started in our country, to check the activity of those faults which are creating in and around Delhi or elsewhere in the country. Some experts are taking up, Dr. Devesh Walia is one of that expert, taking care of some of the dormancy or activity of the faults in the northeast part. So health monitoring of buildings, here I will concentrate little, and also to show some of the glimpse of some building survey that we did in a quick manner. And post-earthquake health checkup, no steps yet taken so far. That after earthquake occur, we have to check that whether some progressive failures are there or not. Systematic study has not yet started in our country. We are now, with the recent earthquake in Delhi, we are more concentrating on rapid visual screening to check whether my building is safe or not. We are in a very, very, very preliminary state. And of course, disaster resilient technologies का roadmap क्या होंगे? Many guidelines, many meetings are being held, but I cannot discuss all these things. So as Dr. Walia has mentioned about me, about the Facebook, so I have taken some screenshot this morning, like CG means Chandan Ghosh, Facebook means phase FB, and 1490th posting, where it is showing that with little bit of comment that they are the WND of ISIL, or for that matter in any hill towns of the country. Surely no expertise that which we are discussing through this seminar is enough to apply or think of some retrofitting or any such measures. Is not possible just by seeing these things that, okay, people are living there for 100 years or living there, but individually looking at one building maybe here, it may affect here also in case of earthquake and earthquake-induced landslide in such a steep hill. So while looking at these things, such kind of constructions and which is going on without guidance, without knowledge, without understanding, we also say that we also do not know many of the things. So we as engineers know nothing of so far to protecting such kind of built-up facilities, and it is completely impossible to save such life if earthquake of 6 plus affect or come here within 20, 30 or 50 kilometers, because this zone is in seismic zone 5. So just only remembering or recalling or telling that we are in seismic zone 5 is not enough. Here we have to work together to take care of each of the buildings. So disaster, natural or man-made or both, there are a lot of definitions are there, but we have to be partner in making our living and learning sustainable. So it is high time to protect our buildings with expertise in civil engineering and relevant BIS code or NBC 2016, which has been revised, or else disaster will be doing simply at our own way from our own angle is not going to help. So even like just one, we still live in such, it is also Facebook things, in hilly areas that are in severe seismic zone 5 of the country, and swear in the name of God that anything and everything government is responsible. Probably we have to see that who is responsible. Before that we have to make our own building good enough, not allowing such kind of openings, because any little shaking of intensity 5 or 6 will collapse the building. And since this is in hilly area, especially in Shimla, then they will fall on other buildings also. While trying to see that addressing these issues, building on stilt, here it is on stilt, and they are tested on a shake table. I'm not able to show here, last time also I tried, but there is a complete video where 6-story frame building is being shaken at the ground here using the same kind of like earthquake that we have experienced, and within 5 to 6 seconds, bottom part here, I have taken from the video of that that experiment, just only one screenshot I have taken to show you that 6-story frame tested in a shake table that fails at the bottom. So this is what is going to happen. I'll show you some of the techniques that how we can stop our building which are existing now, 5-story, 10-story, 20-story, like in NCR area, on slender column and steel, which can be checked, or maybe some measures can be taken to stop such building to fail in this manner, which proved by an experiment that they will fail and again. Because experiments, if you repeat it, it will happen it despite whatever it is. So this lacuna in that which are indebted or encraft in such buildings have been retested, revalidated by doing a similar kind of study without any fill wall here, no fill wall, even then it is broken, which means it is much more dangerous. But you see that this one, there is no column. Here there is no column. You can see at this point there is no column. So such kind of geometrically dissimilar building constructed in our city areas, even though so much of reinforcements are being provided as per design, I don't know what kind of design permits this. That it is, these are the design made by so-called engineers. I would say so-called engineers, maybe there are many other interlinking is there, which I don't want to explore over here. I have mentioned here all these things. The keeping all faith in the building code, we continue to make such constructions with genetic flaws by providing this regular column in the placement of load-bearing columns and beam. And we still think our municipalities, as I mentioned here, shall come in receiving end with PILs flooding the High Court and demanding justice for the earthquake safety of all buildings in Delhi or NCR or Northeast or Nehu or wherever it is. So this is a recent thing that which I wanted to highlight in my things. And we still make such kind of things which is wrong, genetically wrong construction. And it is there in the code, these want to provide stirrup inside, but still we don't provide. But this is provided over here, that beam is centrally located. Then with such kind of stirrup, if it is provided, you think of that, is there any extra cost required while ensuring that this kind of things should be here, not like this thing. This is where that municipality or government is not going to come. This is where that community who are attending here, not as earthquake scientist or seismologist or civil engineer, they have to look at to ensure that the mistri or mason or contractor, they have to ensure that these things have to be in place. Otherwise, if we make these things, this is not going to be an earthquake resistant. Only we may remember that we are living in seismic zone 4. Like you see, this is one of the I would say green rated building, where you see the position of the column, hefty column, but see the slender beam where it is not at the center. You see that what are the mockery of design, what are the mockery of construction that we are doing in the actual implementation. These are in the posh area. These are green rated building, maybe star rated 5, but we are neglecting this cause where civil engineers are very much concerned. I'm showing you that these are all defective building. Whatever may be the hefty column you are providing, if this column beam junction is not enough, these buildings are defective. And of course, the road was broken due to earthquake, as I said. We have not incorporated this kind of things to our design code, either in transportation engineering or earthquake related code. But at the same time, when we do not have this kind of thing, in Nepal also many times happen, in India also, in Bhuj also, many such roads are broken. So forget about the stability of the building lying over the head. But constructing, reconstructing, repairing them in minimum possible time, where, in case of landslide happens, our border roads organization, they keep a lot of contingency arrangement to bring the road in few hours of time or few days of time. So getting this capability, wherever such kind of chances are there, is also contained in our fighting or living friendly with the earthquake or landslides. And this is again Facebook shot that I'm doing. The kind of buildings that which are being constructed here for several decades and with many reasonable ways, we can apprehend the resilient signature. These are resilient for more than 100 years, 200 years. These are country-made, inscripted in this kind of buildings in Shimla. And so we are thankful to those people. Of course, they are not living here, but we have not taken any lesson from this, the kind of bracket that they are providing here. We have taken all incorporated into the RCC, where the kind of blemishes that we are doing. So their community has to come forward. So, and this kind of building in Uri has failed, but these are still existing. So these are the things. I have given you the slides. You can see I have still things to go. Here column is not provided. That is why it's broken. New building in 2005, earthquake in Kashmir. The 2005, 70 plus, 1,000 plus people have been killed. But these are the again signature of Dhajidwari type of buildings in Kashmir and that side. And these days we do not make these things because proper methodology is not there. Karigar or mistri or expertise is not there. And instead of using the wooden things, we have got many aluminum as well as metal frame members which can be used, but the art has been lost, except few documents are available. So this is again in Northeast in Guwahati, that these are still existing. I'm only showing that this kind of brackets more than 100 years before, they have ensured that in order to maintain integrity of the building, This kind of connections are very important. Otherwise, we cannot, because the kind of construction that we are doing, here and all these things and cover it by cement and plaster is not going to help us. This is in Shimla, again, similar nature in Aizawl or even, and in many places in the hilly area, even in Sikkim also. This kind of things. These are all by naked eye we can see. There is no gap between the building. So all these things are the signature of our, vulnerabilities that which we are living with. So simply sitting island or learning a lecture or having a different documents read will not going to help until and unless we as individual go to this. This in Shimla again, for last 10 years, this building is twisted without even earthquake, and it is unattended in this manner because it takes a lot of money, effort, and expertise to check and to remove this or correct it. We don't have that kind of expertise also in the country. And we have expertise to make this kind of buildings, even 100-story buildings, several hundreds are being constructed in Bombay or many areas. But we do not know that how those people 500 years before, 1000 years before, these are still standing. So we have known the techniques since 1962 when Indian Standard Code, but what about the monuments or heritage built before BIS code was created? So we have to see that there are a lot of studies are being made in various IITs or universities, but still we have to, we construct building in this manner. We don't provide the beam here. Then when we cover it, or we don't provide anything here. When we cover it, then we show something like this kind of column, because this color and this color, they are same. So while going for checking these buildings right now in the name of rapid visual screening, we will be totally misled by such kind of signature. Such kind of signature we can see from front, and there is no way until and unless you cooperate as a community to help that this kind of defects were there. Then in that case, appropriate measures can be taken by the experts. So, but still, when we are making, it is this is for lift shaft is being constructed. There is no connection here, no connection this side, no connection this side. So lift shaft, which is to be a rigid one, good one, we construct because things are going on in this manner. So I'm going a little quickly, and this is that RBS Rapid Visual Survey for 10,000 buildings we did in 2011 with the help of MCD and Delhi government after building that failed, and IDM did this investigation. So front page of that investigation report submitted to Delhi government, to the investigation commission, showing all these arrows indicating that these are the visually observed defective items. Each and every item seen in such a building. These are all arrows are indicating from the experience point of view that these are all defective items which is being highlighted. So it is all disease. Some are genetic, some are, symptomatic disease are there in our building, which we have to check. And we make building in this manner. I can show you. First, we make our house. Thereafter, we shape us. Winston Churchill told that is true, but this is I have written. First, we make our house satisfying our desire. Thereafter, ensure Almighty for the disaster safety. We have to change this thing. This is why this interaction is going on. Think of the beam. It doesn't need a civil engineer. Common man can understand. See that how these utilities are going here through the load-bearing beam and how it is being covered over here. And finally, how total building has been completed. So I think now you may be laughing, or the such kind of construction has become a laughing stock, but we have to take the spit on ourselves that what kind of negligence, what kind of social responsibility we as engineers or you as community or the person that who is constructing this thing, keeping all rules and regulation in the shelf, that we are going for allowing such kind of things in our locality. So interim orders and political willpower to go higher in existing ones and promoting steel floor for parking without any consideration of the strength and foundation which we are carrying on. So what are the steps enough for building? These are written there. You can see from the things that I have given, because I want to show a little more. Evaluations of conditions and retrofitting for the possible ones is a challenge, which country has started, but I know that it will be a lost game for us until and unless we take care of the buildings that which is under construction right now with the available knowledge and know-how. Then only we can be sure enough. Because these are the construction going on around us. These are all defective buildings, despite whoever experts or design makes using software or ETAPS or whatever, StatPro, whatever using. This building cannot survive earthquake of, say, a certain extent, because there's no gap here. Building will have some kind of, pounding effect will be there. All those things have been neglected here. There is foundation also. When you check that, they don't provide foundation, even pile foundation or deep foundation. This is a serious defect going on, especially due to distant earthquake. They are going to collapse or things. Municipality makes things that while being construction, you will have to display all these items. But think of this plan. Those who understand the civil engineer or planners, you can see such kind of discontinuity in the plan are not allowed. But these are all not practiced here under sanctioned plan in Delhi and NCR. We construct such kind of building in seismic zone 5 for 2-story building also. We construct even foot over bridge like this in our area. So these are all wrong practices. And we make column over here, we cannot over here. You see that this column should continue over here according to code. But making a different level of columns from a mid-story, this creates a serious defects, which we will realize only when we do some kind of testing on this. And we make this one is 4 times than this one, which is not allowed. More than twice is not allowed. See the bending over here. These are not allowed. See that what kind of defects are there, what kind of steels are there, how these things are rusted, and where band is being provided, where it should be at the 1/3, middle third of that, not near this or near top. So this all we know while we inspect the building, see this width and this width. And these are all defective, but we cannot help because it is made as such that taking all rules and regulation given or all guidelines that given, all instruction given in the code. And we make this kind of things in many places. Of course, it is not feasible, but when we say that M25 and above has to be made mandatory as per code, but majority 80%, 85% of the building using such kind of handmade concrete, we cannot do that. Okay, so we cannot ensure. Then we make these things, we make eccentric footing, and we see that this building will behave. We make this kind of buildings. This is from Aizawl, and how they will protect landslide. This is from Shimla, how they will protect the earthquake shaking of intensity 5 or 6, how they are going to protect. So this is where that we have to look at. So how to start our this rapid visual screening? Then I would say that these are systematic process are there since 1988 onwards. Actually, this process we have started up to this part. This part we have not done. Now country is looking for this part. Up to this part, some cities like Shimla or Himachal Pradesh government, many state government they have done. But going to this step here requires a lot of expertise and companies and with machineries as well as knowledge and know-how, which is still required a lot. So we have made a simple format here, addressing 25 questions here, building address, and then asking is question and filling up yes, no, not available or something like that. So these questions, I have taken few examples. Quickly, I'm going to show that. Is the plan aspect ratio more than 2.5, or is the building resting on liquefiable soil or reclaimed land with no compaction? Something, small questions just to have brief check on the buildings that we are going to check, which already constructed. Is the building irregular in elevation, caused by setbacks and offset, which are often present? We have to note it. And are the beam column support junctions centrally, I have shown you in the beginning, centrally positioned in all floors, come to become 99% building, this aspect is not ensured, even though analysis take care of some offset, but construction doesn't ensure the authenticity of resilience or really performance, because topic is performance. It doesn't ensure. So let us see this building I showed earlier. Seismic actions, there are, if column is not given in a seismic zone 3, 4, 5, how corners are measured failure. Even middle portion of a building, several such failures has occurred. Even in Bhuj earthquake also it has happened because of the stiffness difference between bottom and top floor. Even if it is at the ground, yes, we have highlighted, even if it is at the middle of the building, they get affected like this, you see. So, and otherwise, if we neglect this, we have to lose our cars. Sometimes they are more costlier than our costlier flats. So, so these are, you see, this is again taken from ISL, I think, that question number 2, does the building have floating columns or floating structural walls discontinued from the lower and then they are extending here? So this is the dangerous building, extension. And we have to, are the columns having transverse reinforcement with 90%, yes, 90%. Majority of the cases, by forcefully, we have to ensure that, but people don't take it seriously. All this 90% here, 90% over here. This is so simple, but we don't ensure it, majority of the cases. So these are things that we have to ensure, like this building, this kind of wall, especially civil engineering, 4th year students, it is common times, in our times, such kind of design of elevated water tank with such kind of frail members and with such a heavy thing at the top. We do project work, we did project work, but these are the most vulnerable for a distant earthquake in a city. So what distant, of course, because the time period of this are high, sometimes 3 seconds, 4 seconds, so earthquake has to come from more than 100-kilometer distance, then they will match it. But what to do with this? The immediate thing is that make at least some kind of bracing here itself to make that its stiffness or its response becomes stronger. So that, you know, the difference between this one and this one in transferring the vibration from here to there by taking it as a unit, then we have to go for stiffening of these members. Otherwise we cannot. So these are the things you see that why it is broken over here. There are many things are there. But simple thing that in a sub-story building that we can do in the red part here, at least we can make a brick wall here, 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 here. That will give some stiffness to the sub-story, whether it is a ground floor, middle floor, or underground floors. Then without disturbing the parking, engineers and planners or community all can work together to facilitate parking, strengthening the building with a community spirit that to strengthen such kind of steel building which are there in plenty from the earthquake effect. So these are all different questions. Now that there is no space for shaking, so they are going to collapse and see that these kind of hoardings are also there. So is there any heavy mass, water tanks, hoardings, antenna that is not anchored to the, so these we have to note down these things. And liquefaction, of course, these are very famous 64 Nigata, but in our 1934 Bihar Nepal earthquake also it has happened. Even 1897 also, a lot of signatures are there, but at that time our engineering community or our scientist community were not enough that to study those signatures that given by the earthquake even 100 years back. But 1964 earthquake got this definition, and we have done a lot of things. Did the building suffer any significant damage? Here, I'll show you this building I have shown already, but this is one building near in Sikkim earthquake. This building in December got collapsed after 3 months, exactly 3 months after the Sikkim earthquake of 18 September 2011, because we didn't check the after effect, post after effect of the on the bridges which was being used by some Rangchung area, Singtam and Dikshu, which 48-wheeler heavy trailer was carrying by Tista Urja project. It all collapsed. So you know that because we didn't have any expertise or any idea about the post-earthquake health checkup of buildings or facilities and other things. Even we can strengthen the building by injecting some fluid inside. That is also we have. We have got all the muster in the country. Only thing is that we have to diagnose the disease and then apply proper, medicine that to the building that to look after. But in these days, many people are playing or playing this kind of game just as an eye wash. Be careful. And for that, we must be thorough about the building diagnostics, where defect is there thoroughly. So last questions, are the beam column supports or junctions centrally? Not a single one of them are centrally supported. Not a single one, you cannot see. Here is a secondary beam. So these are positioned in all floors, not all floors. You can see here also. Nothing is in order. So to the end of this, that I would like to say that grade of concrete, grades of steel, and what are the load combination employed in the analysis of structure. So when you will come to know these things, it is a job of you means as a community, those who are participant, whom we say that will be aware enough that there are simple things in the building constructions that if you take with a community spirit to make your own building right now onward, we can save at least 70 to 80% of the collapses or damages on the building from the earthquake that we are 80% or 90% of the earthquake that we are experiencing, that we can save from these petty measures that both you and we together, those who are as an expert role that we are playing. So use of RVS and other things will help in having a primary diagnostics of our building to check if something may go wrong, then we can take care of it. So RVS to be taken extensively across the country, detailed vulnerability mapping to be taken with utmost priority. Some building typology manual created, 33 building type. Professor Yogendra Singh was also part of that by NDMA, which is there in the publication. But after that, we need to do a lot of work in categorizing all the building across the country to bring under that typology so that we can check their retrofitting requirement or evaluation or the RBS requirement for that. Retrofitting of selected building documentation. Now this is going on, but it will take long time. Some money is there, but only thing is that we have to sensitize ourselves into the spots. Strict regulation for new buildings have to be enforced. Thank you. Because I often show this one. This is the China earthquake 2008. Sichuan earthquake which has killed more than 70,000 people with 19,000 children. You know that children in Chinese family, that one children policy. So 19,000 family got directly affected by losing their children. So message is, along with you and me, along with social media, along with such kind of interaction, we must leave behind EMI. I am heavily attached to this word because of the building that I have here in Delhi. EMI-free world for our next generation. Thank you.